what's interesting is that what's bringing young people into the church is the exact opposite of what Catholic churches, mainline churches, evangelical churches thought they had to do 30 years ago to bring young people into the church. One way I put it is, a lot of times in the 80s and 90s, churches thought, well, have to become more like the pop culture. So this is where a lot of Christian rock comes from. This is where, the drum sets in the back of the church service comes from, is become more like the pop culture. I think that for the Catholic Church and other churches that have brought in more young people, it's the opposite. It's, more smells and bells. That is more traditional liturgy. You see a lot of the young people are the ones more likely to wear these chapel veils, which is something that Catholics haven't worn for decades. But, it's a sign of modesty. It's more formal dress. It's kneeling at altar rails to receive communion. And so a lot of the move into the Catholic Church, this is an explanation of why it's happening, but sort of how it's happening is in more traditional forms of worship, including the traditional Latin Mass.
Yeah, well, I think both of us are pretty devout Catholics. I personally attend the Latin Mass, I think, more often than you do.
Yeah.
But and that's one thing that I've always been noticed is that the congregations at these more traditional parishes skew much younger. They have more children,
yes,
generally. And then when you go to the churches that are still kind of, espousing the spirits of the 1970s,
yep,
those tend to skew older.
Those are going to be the older ones,
and
yes.
There's more space in the pews.
Well, and then the priests, I remember I used to do the McLaughlin group. I remember telling Eleanor Clift, and she was shocked to learn this, and this was, 10 years ago, when I said, do you know that every priest who was born, who grew up under John Paul II or later is a lot more conservative than the priests who are your age. And she was sort of shocked about that. If you know a priest who is under the age, who was younger than I am, younger than 46, they're probably going to be sort of religiously more orthodox. And if they're political, they're politically more conservative rather than the sort of social justice type that the boomers might think of.